On the second day of free agency, the Chicago Bulls are still being linked to more guards. But should the Chicago Bulls do the trade anyway? We're going to talk about who all it's involving and including and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Haize, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Sir Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And Chicago Bulls are being linked in trades to more guards. Now, initially, we've talked about the trade rumor already surrounding Anfernee Simons to the Chicago Bulls in a trade with the Boston Celtics. We now have more details on what that exact trade could look like if the Chicago Bulls do decide to, and the Boston Celtics for that matter, both decide that they can agree on terms of this trade. And this is something that, I don't understand. I want to be clear here. I don't like this trade at all. I do not think this is a trade that should go down, but reportedly the trade would include Nikola Vucevic going to the Boston Celtics in exchange for Anfernee Simons and a 2026 second-round pick. So this is the Bulls not getting any draft compensation back for it. This is them sending out a second-round pick and getting back Anfernee Simons. Now, we've heard before that from Brett Siegel that if this trade were to go down, it would have to come after the Bulls trade another one of their guards, which gets us into the second trade rumor that we'll talk about a little bit here in a second. But the fact that this keeps coming up, right? And we've talked about it before. A Jonathan Kuminga for a Nikola Vucevic sign-in trade does not work. It just does not work. Now, I don't know if there's any way in this that you can make a three-team trade in this at all. I don't know. But overall, the Celtics seem to be one of the teams that has the most interest in Nikola Vucevic as it stands right now. This is the second time now we've heard their name. The first time that we've heard an actual idea of what a trade package could look like for Nikola Vucevic going to the Boston Celtics. Take that for a grain of salt and what you will. I don't know if this deal gets done, but the Boston Celtics, who wanted to get under the second tax apron, who have done that, and now with this trade we get close to being under the first tax apron, is what this will get them, as well as getting them a little bit more as far as draft capital as well for the Boston Celtics. I see why the Celtics would do this trade. What I don't see is why the Chicago Bulls should do this trade. This could be something that actually is being talked about, or it could be something that an offer was floated out there and either team could have turned this down already. But the fact that it's now two times that we've heard the Boston Celtics around the name of Nikola Vucevic, it brings a little bit of interest there around it and what it could end up being. So I don't know what happens here. This is not the Bulls getting another center when it comes down to that. Jeremy already saying, I like Cam, but we need a center. We have three of them, bro. We don't need another center. There's not another center out there to me that I'd rather have for the future right now of the Chicago Bulls. I don't want Ayton long-term being the center. So you're looking at Jalen Smith and Zach Collins in your case, if this trade goes down, being your center, and I'm perfectly fine for that for one season. Then the Bulls have to go back to the drawing board to find a more permanent center of the future. But this is an interesting trade. Again, I don't understand what this does for the Bulls now or in the future. Anfernee Simons has 1 year left on his contract, just like Coby White. You have to pay him at the end of the year. I don't understand what this does for the Bulls. They don't need another scoring punch off the bench, I would not think. But this is what's being said out here. It was regarding Anfernee Simons and a 2020. I'm sorry, the Bulls would get a 2026 second round pick. My bad, I said that wrong. The Bulls would send out Nikola Vucevic. They get Anfernee Simons and a 2026 second round pick. For all the Bulls fans that say the Bulls never get picks back in any trade, so getting some future draft capital. Okay, getting Anfernee Simons, is dumping. And the question that you have to ask for this, right? This is how I want to present this. If the Bulls were to do this trade and Anfernee Simons is just a 1 year rental, let's just say the Bulls look at it, they try to move Anfernee Simons to get at the trade deadline or something like that. Would getting a 2026 second round pick be worth it to get off Nikola Vucevic's contract? That's the question that you would have to ask in this specific trade, because the Bulls aren't really getting anything else that I feel like they need as it stands right now. Like, yeah, Anfernee Simons is a bucket. Make no mistake about it. The dude can absolutely fill it up. He's inefficient at times. He's a solid enough passer as well. But are you really getting what you need out of this trade? And the answer that I would have to that is, I don't feel like this really makes us that much better. I don't know what this does for us other than getting us a little bit more draft capital. And if that's your goal, then that's your goal, I guess. I don't know what to say on that. But let me know how you guys feel on that one, man, and see how that feels. What's up, bro? Hoping we see a good move this offseason, and hopefully to get rid of P. Will. Now, if the Boston Celtics is also willing to take P. Will back in it, now we're cooking. Do you want P. Will? Because if you want P. Will, you can have P. Will. Like, I'm just saying. There ain't nobody holding you back. So if you want P. Will, we ain't going to say, hey, we're not. P. Will's untouchable. No, you can take that motherfucker. We'll pack him up, and that blonde spot will give you the dye to help reattach it, which is now there's really some stuff going on with the skin. You can have the motherfucker. But let's move into the next move. So the next reported move, and this is one that we've heard kind of around, right, is that Ayo Dosunmu to the Houston Rockets for Cam Whitmore and Nate Thomas. Now, this is two more. I guess Cam Whitmore is more of a three than a guard, right? So I guess you're getting Cam Whitmore as that. Nate Williams is more of an undersized shooting guard, point guard combo. Hasn't really done a whole lot. He's only in his second season, but or he's going into his third season. Hasn't really done much at the NBA level. So I guess you just be looking at that as more of a salary cap filler in this case. Keep in mind, the Bulls have no open roster spots. So to take back two players, it means we have to send two players out, or we've already would have had to make a trade. The question that you have in here now is sending off Ayo Dosunmu, who's 26 years old, for 20-year-old Cam Whitmore, who was a former 20th overall pick in the 2023 draft, has kind of fallen by the wayside on that Houston Rockets team, falling out of favor there. Is a scorer more than anything, and can be a bucket. 35% three-point shooter for his career, averages 10.8 points per game for his career, not bringing a lot defensively, but 6'7", 230 pounds. Would that do more for the Chicago Bulls in that case? And that's the question that you have to ask yourself here. This is a question that I think makes a little bit more sense for the Bulls, because I do think Ayo Dosunmu is going to play more wing here than what he ever had before. He's going to be a 2 and a 3 mainly here. So if you're getting in that for a little bit more scoring, okay, but then I look at this and say, but where's your defense? Unless you're looking at Isaac Okoro as being enough defense in place of Ayo Dosunmu, getting Cam Whitmore in here to be more offense is a little bit questionable. And I can admit this. I don't want to see Ayo Dosunmu go. I have a huge affinity for Ayo Dosunmu, but this does get the Bulls younger. It does mean that they don't have to extend Ayo Dosunmu, which could make it more likely to keep Coby White, because now you're not worried about having to give new contracts to Coby and Ayo in unrestricted free agency. He's still on his rookie scale deal for another 3 years as Cam Whitmore. So it's not like the Josh Giddey situation where you trade for him and then you immediately have to make a decision on a long-term contract. You don't have to do that. And so I can understand wanting to take the chance on Cam Whitmore. I want to be clear here. I can completely understand taking the chance on Cam Whitmore. It's just you're giving up so much of the defense that you have here. Is that enough? And maybe Manas Buzelis is taking enough steps defensively. Maybe Noah Esingay is going to be more ready defensively in year one to where you're not worried about that. Maybe they think more higher on Isaac Okoro and what he could be defensively. Maybe there's that. But it's a question there. It's a little bit of a question when it comes down to it. But Cam Whitmore is a talent that I would not mind the Bulls taking a bite on. It's just, is moving off Ayo to get that talent the right move that for the Bulls right now where they're currently at? That's the biggest question here that you would have to ask yourself if you're the Chicago Bulls, and are you willing to take on that risk? If you are willing to take on that risk, great. You got Cam Whitmore in here. You got a young player who's been known to be a bucket that maybe has upside of being a really good scorer for your team, maybe a secondary scorer next to Coby White with Josh Giddey. Then, of course, Josh Giddey can score a little bit too, but focusing more on facilitating. And then maybe you have a little bit of that competition there. But to me, even if you do trade Ayo in this trade, you still got Dalen, you still got Julian, you still got Kevin Huerter, you still got Noah Esingay. Like, what is going to happen with those players at that, all those players that can play that 3 position, right? Or you just bringing in Cam Whitmore for the young talent and the bite at the apple, and then trying to figure it out a little bit later as you go on, right? That's what you can say that. We got a comment here from Josh on Cam Whitmore. It says, Cam Whitmore, I can't say this enough. Cam Whitmore is our up-tempo offense. In our up-tempo offense would shine immediately. I would be the happiest Bulls fan if we acquire him. Hey, Josh, I mean, listen, I'm not here to say that the trade wouldn't work. I like Cam Whitmore as a talent to take a bite on. It's just, is that enough, right? Is that enough? Mott's with a great point here. Keep in mind, Vooch walks for nothing next season. Great point there. You're not mad. You're not wrong there at all. I understand that Nikola Vucevic doesn't fit this team anymore, but damn, people be acting like he's trash. 18 and 11 is hard to come by. You know, it is what it is there in Vooch. It is what it is, man. No, pack up the P will die job is crazy. I almost forgot I said that. Brian says, I'm not trading Ayo. Listen, I completely understand where you're coming from with that one. I don't even know. Skidmark 97. That is crazy. Skidmark 97 says, I love Ayo, but give me Whitmore. Okay. We got another. I'm definitely not trading Ayo from Lamonte. Do any of these moves make us better? It's like Acme are making moves that only keep us in the play-in perk. Well, keep in mind, where the Bulls are right now in our assets, there's no move that's going to make us like you're betting on internal development one way or another. I told you guys this a while ago. If you're waiting and hoping that the Bulls make some huge move that you walk away from this like, we're a top 6 team in the East now, it's probably not going to happen this offseason. The Bulls are going to wait for that type of move next summer in 2026 where they have more cap space. This free agency is more about adding pieces that fit your play style, adding pieces that fit and maybe give you a little bit more cap flexibility but still have upside, and then using the year of 2025, 26 to evaluate that talent. That way, before you start making those heavy moves in the summer of 26, you have a good evaluation of the players that you have here. That's what this summer is about. If anybody's still holding out hope that the Bulls are going to make some drastic move that turns them from a play-in to a top 6 seed in the East, that's probably not happening. It's probably not happening. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. Auntie Goon in the building. What's going on, Auntie? I love you. Text me. I haven't heard from you in a minute, Auntie, outside of the show. Text me, Auntie. I love you. Goon says, I'd be very upset if my Bulls trade my son Ayo. Why Ayo and Coby White name and talk, but Vooch and P. Will, you hear very little about them. Well, that's because nobody wants P. Will. Like, it's so hard to move a player that's that has 4 years left on their contract. That right now that contract is a drastic overpay. Like, it's going to be, the Bulls would have to give up probably a protected first round pick to get off Coby Patrick Williams' contract. Vooch, I am a little bit more surprised that there isn't more talk around Nikola Vucevic, to be honest with you. To be 100% honest with you. Not gonna lie, I would love to see Cam Thomas here over Coby. Really? With Cam Thomas being even more of a chucker than Coby, less consistent, and more injured than Coby White, and smaller. He's 6'3". Like, really, Cam Whitmore? I mean, hey, if that's the case, I mean, I'm not gonna knock you for it, but I would love to hear you call in and leave a voicemail on that. Maybe able to still be top 6 with the East being more open. I get it was March, but but we were balling. I mean, if that March basketball becomes more of how we play consistently this year, then yeah, they can be a top 6 seed if they play that way more consistently. I have not been one to bet on that because I need to see them be that consistently before I'm willing to bet on that, if that makes sense. But let's go over like Cleveland's still going to be probably the 1 seed. New York's probably still going to be at top of there. The Orlando Magic's going to definitely take a move up. The Atlanta Hawks have definitely done enough, I think, to get themselves out the play-in. The Boston Celtics are still going to be good enough to be a playoff team. So that's 5 teams right there. So then that leaves the Milwaukee Bucks, the Indiana Pacers, the Detroit Pistons probably going to be a top 16 too. So I don't know. Like, it's still going to be difficult to be top 6 in the East. It's not going to be difficult to make the playoffs in the East, but top 6, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Going to be a little bit difficult there. Haize, pay very close attention to the Indiana Pacers because they could very well be looking for a center. I don't think they are. I said that initially too when Miles Turner signed, but I think that the Pacers, keep in mind, they have their own first round pick this year in 2026. So they could, and it wouldn't be considered tanking because they lost their best center and their best player, Tyrese Halliburton, is going to miss the entirety of the year. So this could be a year where they say, Ben Mathurin, go show us how you can develop. You're going to have the ball in your hands. You're going to score a lot. I think that this is going to be a season where it's a gap year for them. They could very well have they're going to still try to win. Rick Carlisle is not going to be a tanking coach, but I do think that the Pacers are still going to be bad, and because they have their own first round pick, I think that they have incentive just let it go the way that it's going to go. So Whitmore over Coby is crazy. I agree with that. I don't see he hasn't shown any of that yet. Like, I get he's only in the second year. He's played a role on a team, but I just don't see that. I don't see that. Man, I can't get myself to give up Ayo for Cam Whitmore. I wish we got more draft comp, then it makes more sense, but still Ayo is so good, man. Agree. I think Ayo is ready to take a huge step this year. I think he's a huge step this year. With all the center movement, there are multiple teams freaking out about the center position. I don't really think there are that many anymore. Like, I think most of the teams that needed a center got one. The Clips got Brook. The Bucks got Miles Turner. The Nuggets, who wanted a backup center, got Valanciunas. Really, the only team that's really looking for a center still is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Phoenix Suns got Mark Williams, and they got Kaman Malawak. I don't know how many teams are still drastically looking for a center this offseason. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I just don't know if there are a lot of teams are still looking for a center like we thought coming into this. Keep in mind, and still Daniel Gafford is still out there. Derek Lively's still out there, even if they do want that. DeAndre Ayton is a completely unrestricted free agent. So I don't know if the center market is as drastic as what it looked like it was going to be at one point in time. Again, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong on that. Might hit on a draft pick if that happens. Things change. Oh, that's a big fact. Big fact. I'm just saying this year I don't see it. Golden State Warriors. Yes, the Golden State Warriors. So the Golden State Warriors and Lakers are probably the two biggest teams looking for a center. The Pacers, I think the Pacers are going to find a stopgap center. I don't think they're going to be looking, like I say, because I think they have their own I know they have their own 2026 first round pick back now. I don't think they're going to be really worried about it, to be honest with you. I don't think they are. Could the Pistons want Vooch? Why would they want Vooch with Jalen Duren down there? They got a pretty damn good center rotation down there. And then they kept Paul Reed too, right? I don't know. But all right, y'all. I just wanted to bring those updates. You guys can let me know how you feel on all that down below. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.